A graphic designer gets stuck on Mars as his job is deemed redundant in this adult animated workplace comedy, Fired on Mars. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my TV review for the adult animated workplace comedy Fired on Mars. This is streaming right now on Max. It is based on a short film of the same name from several years ago and is giving shades of Mike Judge. And we'll sort of get into the similarities there here in just a moment. Currently, the first season is streaming on Max. No word yet whether there will be a follow-up season or not. But before we launch into it, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We've got a ton of great movie and TV reviews for you to check out here on the channel. Please consider subscribing down below and hit that notification bell too. That, of course, helps the channel out. This, is definitely giving me Mike Judge vibes from the start. And I watched the whole season. It's 8 episodes. A lot of times when I do these TV reviews, usually I'll do 2 or 3 episodes just to get a taste of it. But these are very quick to digest. They are TV-ready, 24-minute episodes, even though they're, it's streaming. But I always like when they have sort of a, okay, here's a, beginning, middle, and end, just like a traditional sitcom would. So you can do this whole season in, a little under 4 hours. But Luke Wilson plays the main character here, Jeff Cooper. He is a graphic designer who, in one of the first scenes, loses his job on Mars at the new startup company, Marsley. Basically they have transported a whole host of people to this place in Mars. It's the only colony there. And so once he gets fired, what does he do? Because his coworkers don't really want him hanging around, but there's literally nowhere else to go. So it goes from there. It's very interesting. But the Mike Judge stuff comes because this is very sort of Office Space-like. The first couple episodes where we really are in the office, because he tries to like hang around a little bit and whatever. So the first maybe half of the season has a lot of like office sort of cliques and quirks and politics and all of that sort of thing. So definitely some Office Space vibes there, but a lot of the voice work also you can identify from other Mike Judge projects. Pamela Adlon is here as one of his coworkers. Who is actually the boss of one of the divisions of the company, and he sort of gets in a bit of a romance with her. But she voices Bobby Hill on King of the Hill. Stephen Root is here as well, who is in both King of the Hill and Office Space. Thomas Hayden Church, I don't know if he's done any Mike Judge stuff, but it seems like he would be sort of in that wheelhouse. But Tim Heidecker is here as well, and Pete Davidson has a couple of episodes. So this is a really, really great show. It is not the typical adult animated series. One of my biggest gripes, and if you watch my videos a lot, you'll know this, about adult animated series is, oh, we can have the characters just curse every 3 words, and that's the gag. Or do gross out humor. Oh, let's, talk about bodily functions or whatever every, 35 seconds, and that's the joke. This is not that. This is a lot more nuanced. It is, and actually, speaking of The Office, because it's an office comedy, Leslie David Baker has a few episodes here as well. He played Stanley on The Office. So, but anyway, so there's a lot of like, more nuanced stuff here, and more character development, I think, than we see a lot in a lot of these adult animated series. You have like, okay, this person has this, thing about them or whatever, and that's what they do every episode or whatever, and that's not what this is. So a couple of minor gripes here. The whole thing is from Jeff's perspective, and I think I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more of, what certain other people are going through or whatever. We obviously have them reacting to Jeff, but it would have maybe been nice for a little character development in other areas. And the other thing that I think is, it's not really a negative, but I had to think on it for a little bit. So about halfway through the 8 episodes, the whole plot sort of seems to shift, because we have the first few episodes where he's getting fired, and now what does he do? And he's got a girlfriend back on Earth that he communicates with, but, you know, she's having an affair, you know, because he's on Mars, and whatever. So there's, you know, there's a little relationship stuff too. You know, it's more in that kind of office space, the office wheelhouse. And then things start to take a shift a little bit, and it turns into not necessarily a thriller per se, but there's a lot more going on way outside of the office, a lot more sort of thriller-esque type of vibes that go along with the back half of the season. I thought it was a very interesting shift because at first I was like, well, I sort of wanted them to stay kind of in that office zone, you know, in the workplace, but maybe because he's fired and everything, maybe we've gotten enough kind of out of that we can. Okay, he's hung around an extra couple episodes. Everybody's kind of annoyed with him. Maybe we sort of, you know, got our fill of that. So let's pivot a little bit to this other part. And so as it ends the season, no spoilers here, but as it ends the season, I think if it doesn't get renewed for a second season, it is a satisfying enough ending, but certainly room for a second season to kind of pick up where we left off and maybe, you know, tackle some of those other threads that did not get resolved. But overall, I think this is really, really well done. The animation is, you know, up to par, I think, for these types of shows. I don't think it's CGI. My guess would be hand-drawn, but I might be wrong on that. Maybe it's just CGI designed to look like hand-drawn. They do that sometimes, but this is, I think, exactly what you'd want in a workplace comedy that Mike Judge has nothing to do with, but it's screaming, you know, kind of, you know, Idiocracy, Office Space, you know, certainly it's taken its inspiration from Mike Judge. And did I mention? I don't know if I even did. I think I did. But Luke Wilson voices Jeff, who is really, really good in the role. I've always liked Luke Wilson, and I could tell it was his voice right away. I've seen so much of his stuff, but he definitely adds a sort of you know, desperation and sadness to the character that never gets like too goofy. And so this is not. You know, there's jokes, and I did laugh at certain points, but this is not like a joke, you know, every 20 seconds like, you know, The Simpsons or Bob's Burgers or Rick and Morty or something like that. This is definitely a little bit more, dare I say, dramatic, you know, but certainly nuanced. You know, is the word I keep coming back to here. So very enjoyable. I leave Fired on Mars on Max with an A-, and you can stream all 8 episodes of this series right now. We'll see if it gets a season 2 or not. Thanks so much for watching. Dan Reviews It. We'll see you next time. Bye.